A teenage girl stands in her hotel room, moving to the beat of a viral TikTok trend. Her energy is infectious, carefree, confident, and full of life as she records herself dancing. But then something shifts. Mid-movement, her expression freezes. The joy fades from her face, replaced by alarm as her eyes dart toward the door. Someone has entered the room. And just like that, the video cuts off. This chilling clip would become the final post-16-year-old Kalecia Williams ever recorded. At exactly 12:02 a.m. on December 27, 2020, she was sharing moments of laughter and fun with her online followers. By 12:23 a.m., just 21 minutes later, her young life had ended, claimed by a single gunshot wound. What unfolded during those fateful 21 minutes? How did a high school student end up alone in a downtown Atlanta hotel room when her parents thought she was attending a supervised holiday party? And why did what should have been a night of celebration turn into an unimaginable tragedy? Kalecia's story raises questions that haunt not only her loved ones, but anyone who hears it. A stark reminder of how quickly lives can change forever. Thanks for joining us on True Crime Continent, the channel dedicated to exploring the stories behind the headlines, the cases that shock, disturb, and ultimately shape our understanding of humanity. While these events are often difficult to confront, they remind us of the importance of seeking justice, learning from tragedy, and striving for change. If you're as passionate about uncovering the truth and understanding the complexities of these cases, make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow the channel. Your support helps us continue shedding light on these critical stories, and there's so much more to come. In this video, we're diving deeper than just the headlines to uncover the real story behind these tragic events. We'll also talk about how we can all stay safer by learning from what happened. Kalecia Pinky Williams' story is especially important because it touches on issues that so many families face today. Things like social media, trust between parents and teens, and the dangers of gun violence. Her life and her loss deserve to be shared with care and meaning. Before we go further, let's pause for a moment. Think about this. Do you know where your kids are right now? Do you know what they're doing online? If this question makes you stop and think, give this video a thumbs up and share it with others. These are conversations that could make a difference, and your support helps spread awareness to more people who need to hear it. Kalecia Williams, or Pinky as her friends and family called her, was a bright 16-year-old from Atlanta, Georgia. Born on January 1, 2004, she grew up in a loving home with her mom, April Smith, and stepdad, Romney Sevoy. Those close to her say she was a laid-back girl who loved spending time at home. She wasn't the type to go out partying. Instead, she enjoyed staying in, streaming Netflix, and staying connected through Wi-Fi. Like most teens her age, Kalecia found her voice on social media. TikTok was her platform of choice, where she became known for her lively dance videos. Her posts showcased her bubbly personality and talent, earning her a following of peers who admired her energy and creativity. For Kalecia, social media wasn't just a hobby, it was a big part of who she was. On December 26, 2020, a night that should have been filled with holiday cheer, Kalecia left her house at 9 p.m. Her parents thought she was heading to a supervised party at an Airbnb, a gathering they had allowed her to attend before. But instead of going where her parents believed she'd be, Kalecia ended up at the Hyaat Regency Hotel in downtown Atlanta. It was there, in a place far from home, that her life was tragically cut short under unclear and violent circumstances. The gap between what her parents thought she was doing and the reality of that night is one of the most unsettling parts of this story. It raises important questions about trust, communication, and how we can better protect our teens in a world where social media often blurs the lines between safety and risk. Kalecia Williams was born on New Year's Day in 2004, born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. She grew up in a loving African-American family, surrounded by the care of her mom, April Smith, and her stepdad, Romney Sevoy. While not much is known about her biological father, Romney stepped into the role of a dad in every way that mattered, playing a big part in raising Kalecia and shaping her childhood. Growing up in Atlanta, Kalecia was surrounded by the energy and creativity of the city. That influence showed up later in her life, especially in the vibrant and expressive videos she shared online. At home, she was known as a laid-back girl who loved spending time indoors, but online, she lit up the screen with her personality and talent. Kalecia was a student at Crawford W. Long Middle School, where she stood out for her lively spirit and magnetic personality. Teachers and classmates alike fondly recalled how she could brighten even the dullest moments with her energy and humor. Faith also played a central role in her upbringing. Her family's Christian values were woven into their everyday lives, helping shape Kalecia into the person she became. At home, the Williams household was a place of stability and care, offering Kalecia the kind of foundation every child needs to grow. Her parents worked tirelessly to strike a balance between encouraging her passions and ensuring her well-being in a world increasingly dominated by technology. Like so many families today, they faced the tough challenge of navigating the blurred lines between offline parenting and online supervision. To everyone who crossed her path, Kalecia radiated joy. She had a way of making people feel seen and valued, and her zest for life was contagious. Her nickname, Pinky, wasn't just a random label, it was a reflection of her love for all things pink. From her outfits to her phone cases, pink was her signature color, a small but meaningful detail that made her uniquely her. While some teens crave constant action and adventure, Kalecia preferred the comfort of home. She wasn't the type to spend hours outdoors. Instead, she found her world through screens. Whether she was binge-watching her favorite shows or crafting TikTok videos, technology became her gateway to creativity and connection. Romney Sevoy, Kalecia's stepfather, often tried to nudge her out of the house. "Pinky," he'd say, "you need to go outside and get some fresh air." But Kalecia always had the same easygoing reply. I'm good. As long as I've got Wi-Fi and Netflix, I'm set." Her laid-back, homebody nature gave her parents a sense of security. If she was indoors, they figured she was safe, a mindset many parents share when their kids prefer the comfort of home over venturing out. For Kalecia, dancing became more than just a hobby. It was how she expressed herself and connected with the world. Like countless other teens, she found her voice on TikTok, where she could share her energy and creativity with strangers who quickly became fans. What started as lighthearted fun, filming short dance clips in her bedroom, soon turned into something bigger. Her videos stood out not because of flashy setups or expensive equipment, but because of their authenticity. Kalecia wasn't trying to be anyone else. She was just being herself, moving to the beat in ways that felt natural and effortless. Her content resonated with viewers. Whether it was nailing the latest viral challenge or adding her own flair to trending songs, people loved her unpretentious charm. She didn't need elaborate backdrops or choreography. Her personality shone through every video she posted. As her follower count grew, so did the rush of validation that comes with social media success. Every like, comment, and share fueled her motivation to keep creating. For Kalecia, TikTok wasn't just an app. It was a space where she could belong, shine, and leave her mark on the digital world. Despite her growing popularity online, Kalecia remained deeply connected to her family. Her parents described their relationship as one built on trust, though, like any household with teenagers, there were moments of negotiation, boundaries to uphold, and the occasional misunderstanding. They encouraged her TikTok hobby but kept an eye on things, trying to strike that delicate balance between supporting her passions and ensuring she stayed safe. To her friends, Kalecia was loyal and fun to be around. Her social circle included classmates from school, as well as connections she'd made through social media, a mix of real-life and digital friendships. For someone who preferred spending most of her time at home, Kalecia's request to attend what she called a chaperoned holiday gathering on December 26th stood out as unusual. It wasn't typical for her to seek out plans outside the house, which made this outing seem all the more ordinary, or so it appeared at the time. Saturday, December 26, 2020, a quiet post-Christmas evening. While many families were still unwinding from the holidays, the Williams household settled into their usual weekend rhythm. At 9 p.m., Kalecia got ready to head out. She told her parents she'd be attending a supervised get-together with friends from school, a plan they had no reason to question. After all, she'd gone to similar events before without issue. The timing seemed normal enough for a winter break hangout, and everything about her departure felt routine. As Kalecia waved goodbye to her family, none of them could have known it would be the last time they'd see her alive. What started as an ordinary night quickly spiraled into tragedy, leaving behind unanswered questions and heartbreak. What Kalecia's parents thought was happening that night, and the truth about where she ended up were two completely different stories. April Smith and Romney Sevoy had given their blessing for their daughter to attend what they believed was a supervised holiday party at an Airbnb. It sounded harmless enough, a group of school friends celebrating the winter break under the watchful eye of a parent. She was supposed to stay at an Airbnb with a few friends from school and the mom, Savoy later told investigators. They'd done this once before, so we didn't think twice about letting her go again. The couple even spoke with someone who claimed to be the supervising mother. This person reassured them that she would be present all evening, giving the parents peace of mind as they sent Kalecia off for what they assumed would be a safe, low-key gathering. But the reality was far more alarming. Instead of heading to a cozy Airbnb with adult supervision, Kalecia and a group of other teenagers wound up at the Hyaat Regency Hotel in downtown Atlanta, a sleek, high-rise venue that hardly seemed like the typical spot for a group of unsupervised minors. For many teens, a place like the Hyaat wasn't just unusual, it was out of the ordinary entirely. What Kalecia's parents thought was a safe, supervised gathering turned out to be anything but. There was no responsible adult present, no one keeping an eye on the group of teenagers. The story of a chaperoned holiday party now appears to have been a fabrication, crafted to convince parents like April Smith and Romney Savoy to let their daughter attend what was actually an unsupervised hotel gathering. 1 month after the tragedy, a Fox 5 News reporter shared this heartbreaking update with the public. 1 month ago today, a 16-year-old girl left home to attend what her parents believed was a chaperoned holiday party, and she never returned, the report began. Her family is now questioning where the adults were when violence broke out and are calling for accountability, urging authorities to bring charges against everyone involved. Kalecia's parents echoed this plea in their own words. "We just want everyone who had something to do with our daughter's death to be held accountable," they said. The pain of losing Kalecia brought a community together. More than 20 people gathered outside the Hyaat Regency Hotel to honor her memory and demand justice for her untimely death. Fox 5 News continued. On December 26th, 16-year-old Kalecia, known affectionately as Pinky by her loved ones, headed out for what her parents were told would be a supervised celebration at an Airbnb. Instead, the night ended in tragedy. Kalecia's mother revealed a shocking detail about the events leading up to that fateful evening. A woman, whose identity remains undisclosed, rented the hotel room under her name for these minors, she explained. That woman should be held accountable for my daughter's death because she enabled this situation. Adding to the heartbreak, the family didn't learn the truth until hours later. It wasn't until 8:45 a.m., long after Kalecia's life had been taken, that authorities contacted them with the devastating news. They called and asked us to come to the morgue, Kalecia's mother recalled. I said, "The morgue?" They replied, "Yes, ma'am. We're waiting on your daughter's body to arrive." I couldn't believe it. It felt surreal. Even more troubling, Kalecia was pronounced dead at 12:23 a.m., nearly 8 hours before her parents received the call. For those agonizing hours, they had no idea their daughter was gone. Kalecia's mom has been vocal about her frustration with how the investigation has unfolded. "There's just so much foul play involved," she said. "I've been trying to piece everything together myself because I don't feel like the system is doing enough to help me get answers." The last known video of Kalecia shows her dancing for TikTok, full of energy and life, until something startles her. The moment someone enters the room, the video abruptly ends. It's a chilling snapshot of her final moments. Her mother is desperate for clarity. "I need to see the surveillance footage," she pleaded. "Who came into that room? Who left? Who was there? And what happened after she made that TikTok at 12:02? She was gone by 12:23. I need answers for those 21 minutes. What took place during that time?" Outside the Hyaat Regency, emotions ran high as family and friends gathered to protest and demand justice. For hours, they stood together, united in their grief and determination. "This is just the beginning of our fight for Pinky," one family member declared. "We won't rest until we get justice for her." As the investigation unfolded, a devastating truth came to light. There never was an Airbnb. The chaperone party Kalecia's parents had approved turned out to be a fabrication, a heartbreaking revelation that left her family grappling with guilt and unanswered questions. One of the most alarming aspects of this case revolves around how minors were able to secure accommodations at a major downtown hotel. Reports indicate that the room at the Hyaat Regency was booked under Kalecia's name, a detail that raises serious concerns about hotel policies regarding underage guests. How did a 16-year-old manage to book a room at such a prominent establishment? Did she use her own ID, or was someone else involved in making the reservation? Was an adult's credit card used for the transaction? These questions point to potential gaps in the hotel's verification procedures, gaps that might have prevented this tragedy if they had been addressed. The Hyaat Regency, located at 265 Peachtree Street in Atlanta's bustling downtown district, is a well-known and reputable hotel. Presumably, it has safeguards in place to prevent unaccompanied minors from booking rooms. Yet on that fateful night, those safeguards, if they existed, failed. And the consequences were catastrophic. At around 12:02 a.m. on December 27th, Kalecia was alone in her hotel room, filming what would tragically become her final TikTok video. The clip, now a haunting piece of evidence, shows her doing something she loved, dancing to music, just like she had done in so many videos before. At first glance, everything seems normal. Kalecia appears relaxed and happy, fully immersed in the performance. She's dressed casually, moving effortlessly to the beat, her focus clearly on creating content for her followers. The hotel room behind her looks ordinary, standard furniture, nothing out of place. Nothing that hints at the tragedy about to unfold. But then something changes. Mid-dance, Kalecia's expression shifts abruptly. Her carefree smile vanishes, replaced by a look of surprise, or perhaps alarm. Her eyes widen as they dart toward the door, signaling that someone has entered the room unexpectedly. In an instant, her entire demeanor transforms. What was once relaxed and joyful becomes tense and guarded. And then silence. The video cuts off without warning, no explanation, no resolution. Just a teenage girl frozen in a moment of shock, followed by an eerie void. This fleeting digital fragment captures Kalecia's last recorded moments, a chilling timestamp marking the beginning of the 21 minutes that would lead to her death. Between 12:02 a.m., when her TikTok video ended, and 12:23 a.m., when she was pronounced dead, those 21 minutes remain shrouded in mystery. What happened during that short span of time? Investigators believe an altercation occurred, resulting in Kalecia sustaining a fatal gunshot wound to the groin. But beyond that, details are scarce, leaving her family and the public searching for answers. Atlanta police later revealed that Kalecia and a teenage boy were the only two people in the hotel room when the shooting occurred. Investigators suggested the pair may have been acquaintances who got into an argument, though the exact nature of their interaction remains unclear. Those 21 minutes, between Kalecia's final TikTok video at 12:02 a.m. and her death at 12:23 a.m., represent the critical window that separates a typical teenage night from a tragic homicide investigation. Within that short time frame, actions were taken, decisions were made, and a gun was somehow introduced, drawn, and fired. Unraveling exactly what happened during those minutes became the focal point for both investigators seeking justice and Kalecia's family, desperate for answers. What began as a quiet night at the Hyaat Regency quickly turned chaotic when hotel staff and guests became aware of a serious incident unfolding on the premises. After the shooting, Kalecia was no longer found in her hotel room. Instead, she had been moved to the lobby, a detail that raised significant questions about the timeline of events and the actions of those involved. At approximately 12:27 a.m., officers from the Atlanta Police Department responded to an emergency call from the hotel. When they arrived, they discovered 16-year-old Kalecia lying in the lobby, critically injured with a gunshot wound to the groin. The scene was tense and disorienting. Hotel guests looked on in shock as first responders worked frantically to save her life. Paramedics immediately began life-saving measures and rushed Kalecia to a nearby hospital. Despite their best efforts, the injury proved fatal. Tragically, at 12:23 a.m., even before police reached the scene, Kalecia Williams was pronounced dead. She became the 153rd homicide victim in Atlanta that year. The fact that Kalecia was found in the lobby rather than in the hotel room where the shooting allegedly took place added another layer of mystery to the case. Understanding why and how she ended up there would prove crucial in piecing together the full sequence of events and the role others may have played that night. One of the most significant witness accounts came from a hotel guest named Kota Starry, whose observations shed light on the chaos that unfolded. Kota Starry, a guest staying at the Hyaat Regency that night, provided a chilling account of what she witnessed. According to her statement, she saw two young men carrying Kalecia out of an elevator and into the hotel lobby. The scene was heart-wrenching. Starry immediately stepped forward to help, holding Kalecia's hand in her final conscious moments as they waited for emergency services to arrive. This brief human connection, a moment of compassion amid chaos, stands in stark contrast to the violence that had unfolded just minutes earlier. Starry's testimony raised several critical questions. Who are these two young men? Why did they bring Kalecia to the lobby instead of calling for help from the hotel room? Were they trying to get her medical attention, or were they attempting to distance themselves from the crime scene? Her account quickly became a pivotal piece of the investigative puzzle, shedding light on the sequence of events that followed the shooting. At 12:27 a.m., officers from the Atlanta Police Department arrived at the Hyaat Regency in response to reports of a shooting. The scene was tense as law enforcement worked to secure the area, gather witness statements, and begin what would soon become a homicide investigation. The third such case opened in Atlanta within less than 24 hours during that post-Christmas weekend. Initial assessments by police revealed that the shooting had occurred inside one of the hotel rooms, not in the lobby where Kalecia was found. Investigators wasted no time reviewing security footage, interviewing witnesses, and processing the room for evidence. Their early findings indicated that Kalecia and a teenage boy were the only two people present in the room when the shooting took place. Working swiftly, investigators identified and located a teenage male suspect within hours of the incident. Though his name was withheld due to his status as a minor, authorities confirmed he was an acquaintance of Kalecia's. The speed with which the suspect was identified suggested that substantial evidence pointed to his involvement in the tragic events. In a devastating detail that added to the family's anguish, Kalecia's parents weren't informed of her death until 8:45 a.m. on December 27th, nearly 8 hours after she was pronounced dead. While they slept, unaware of the tragedy unfolding, their daughter's case was already being processed as a homicide. "You never think something like this could happen to your family," Romney Sevoy later shared, his voice heavy with grief. "Not Pinky. Not our Pinky." The delay in notification only deepened their pain, leaving them feeling robbed of precious time to process and respond to the unimaginable loss. For any parent, the thought of not knowing where their child is, or what might have happened to them, is a nightmare. And for Kalecia's family, that nightmare became a reality. Let's pause here for a moment. How often do you check in on your teenager's whereabouts? If your child told you they were at a friend's house or a supervised event, would you have a way to confirm it? Take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments below. How can parents strike a balance between trust and verification in today's digital world? This isn't about fear or distrust. It's about staying vigilant and keeping our kids safe. If this story has made you rethink how you approach teen supervision, give this video a like and share it with other parents. These conversations may feel uncomfortable, but as Kalecia's story shows us, they're absolutely vital. Your support helps spread awareness, and awareness saves lives. Within hours of Kalecia's death, Atlanta police acted swiftly, identifying and apprehending a teenage boy in connection with the shooting. The speed of the arrest suggested that evidence from the scene strongly implicated this individual. Though his name was withheld due to his juvenile status, authorities confirmed he was an acquaintance of Kalecia's who had been present in the hotel room during the incident. The arrest took place on December 27, 2020, as investigators worked tirelessly to piece together the events of that tragic night. Hotel security footage, witness testimonies, and physical evidence all played crucial roles in helping police identify the suspect. The teenage boy was taken into custody without incident and transported to a juvenile detention facility. His swift arrest offered a measure of reassurance to a community still reeling from the third homicide in Atlanta within less than 24 hours during that holiday weekend. But while the arrest marked a significant step forward, it was only the beginning of a case riddled with unanswered questions. Following his apprehension, prosecutors wasted no time in filing a series of serious charges against the teenage suspect. Despite his status as a minor, the gravity of the alleged crime resulted in a substantial list of charges: felony murder, aggravated assault, reckless conduct, possession of a pistol by a person under 18 years of age. Additionally, authorities included a charge of sexual assault, though specific details supporting this allegation were not disclosed to the public. The inclusion of felony murder stood out as particularly significant. This charge applies when a death occurs during the commission of another felony, suggesting investigators believed the shooting was connected to another serious crime. For juvenile offenders, felony murder carries severe penalties, far more than typical cases involving minors. It signaled the seriousness with which authorities viewed the circumstances surrounding Kalecia's death. The weapons possession charge also raised troubling questions about how a teenager had access to a firearm, and why he brought it to a hotel gathering. This aspect of the case highlighted a broader issue: the alarming ease with which minors can obtain guns. It pointed to systemic problems that extend far beyond the immediate tragedy of Kalecia's death, underscoring the urgent need for action on gun access among youth. While the Williams family felt some relief that an arrest had been made quickly, they were far from satisfied. To them, the teenage suspect wasn't the only one who bore responsibility for the tragedy that took their daughter's life. Her family believes the shooter isn't the only one accountable for her death, local media reported, echoing the family's belief that others played a role in creating the circumstances that led to Kalecia's fatal night. The family questioned why no one was being held responsible for facilitating the hotel booking or for lying about the nature of the gathering to gain parental permission. Romney Sevoy and April Smith were especially troubled by the deception surrounding Kalecia's whereabouts. "She wasn't out running the streets," her stepfather emphasized. "Our daughter was misled, just like we were. Someone set this whole dangerous situation in motion, and they need to be held accountable too." Despite the arrest, many aspects of the case remain shrouded in mystery, fueling both the family's frustration and widespread public interest. One of the biggest unanswered questions revolved around the relationship between Kalecia and the teenage suspect. Police described them as acquaintances, but the full context of their connection, and what led them to be alone together in a hotel room, remained unclear. The presence of the gun added another layer of complexity. Who brought the weapon to the hotel? Was it brought for protection, or did someone have more sinister intentions? How did a minor even get access to a firearm? These questions highlighted troubling gaps in gun safety and control, pointing to systemic issues that went far beyond this single tragedy. But perhaps the most haunting mysteries were tied to the timeline of events. What exactly happened during those 21 minutes between Kalecia's final TikTok video and her death? Why was there a delay in calling authorities after the shooting? Who were the two males seen carrying her to the lobby, and what did they do before emergency services arrived? These lingering uncertainties only deepened the pain for Kalecia's family, leaving them desperate for answers that might never fully come. The gaps in the story continued to haunt both investigators and Kalecia's grieving family, leaving more questions than answers. In the weeks following her death, Kalecia's family channeled their heartbreak into a fierce determination for transparency and accountability. April Smith and Romney Sevoy refused to settle for the limited information provided by authorities. They believed critical details were either being overlooked or intentionally hidden. They began speaking out publicly, pointing out inconsistencies they saw in the official narrative. One of their main concerns was the hotel's security protocols, or lack thereof, that allowed minors to book rooms without adult verification. How could such a prominent establishment fail to prevent this kind of situation? The family also demanded full access to all surveillance footage from the Hyaat Regency. They suspected the tapes might reveal additional individuals involved or expose contradictions in witness statements. Most urgently, they questioned why no adults were being held accountable for misleading Kalecia's parents about her whereabouts. "As a parent, you're supposed to pick up the phone and call that other parent," Sevoy emphasized, underscoring the breakdown in communication and supervision that ultimately contributed to the tragedy. Their relentless advocacy kept the case in the public eye when it might have otherwise faded from the headlines. Exactly 1 month after Kalecia's death, on January 26, 2021, family, friends, and community supporters gathered outside the Hyaat Regency for a powerful memorial demonstration. Dozens of attendees wore pink, Kalecia's signature color, and released balloons in her memory. The event served as both a tribute to her life and a demand for justice and transparency. The memorial demonstration outside the Hyaat Regency was no accident. The location was deliberately chosen to send a powerful message, to pressure both the hotel and law enforcement to address the lingering questions surrounding Kalecia's death. Speakers at the event called for sweeping changes to hotel policies regarding minors, emphasizing the urgent need for greater accountability from adults who enable or mislead in situations like this. The gathering served two purposes: honoring Kalecia's memory and making it clear that her family would not stop fighting until they received full answers and justice. Meanwhile, the legal proceedings against the teenage suspect unfolded largely behind closed doors, shielded by the confidentiality protections of the juvenile justice system. Unlike adult murder trials, which are often highly publicized, hearings, evidence, and legal arguments in juvenile cases remain private, a fact that left many frustrated and searching for clarity. When the verdict finally came, it shocked and disappointed Kalecia's family and supporters. Despite the severity of the charges, including felony murder, the teenage suspect was sentenced to just 1 year in juvenile detention. For many, the punishment felt grossly inadequate for the loss of a human life. The brevity of the sentence raised troubling questions. Had the prosecution faced challenges with evidence? Was a plea deal struck to avoid a trial? Or did the juvenile justice system prioritize rehabilitation over accountability? Whatever the reasoning, the outcome left Kalecia's loved ones and the public feeling that justice had fallen painfully short. "This isn't justice. This is an insult," Romney Sevoy said after the sentencing, his voice heavy with grief and anger. For Kalecia's family, the sentence was a devastating blow. While they were forced to endure a lifetime without their daughter, her killer would walk free in just 12 months. Determined to turn their pain into purpose, the family channeled their disappointment into advocacy. They established a foundation in Kalecia's name, focusing on teen safety, parental awareness, and stronger accountability when minors are harmed due to adult negligence. Kalecia's tragic death shines a spotlight on several critical issues facing teenagers today. Her case highlights how digital platforms can blur the lines between online connections and real-world risks, often without proper safeguards. It exposes gaps in hotel security protocols that allow minors to book rooms unsupervised. And most alarmingly, it underscores how easily firearms can fall into the hands of teenagers, despite laws designed to prevent it. These factors, social media influence, inadequate supervision, deception about plans, and access to weapons, created a dangerous chain of events that ultimately cost Kalecia her life. Her story serves as a sobering reminder that keeping teens safe in the digital age requires vigilance on multiple fronts. From parental oversight to corporate responsibility to gun safety measures, there's no single solution, but every effort counts. For many parents, Kalecia's story has been a wake-up call. It has fundamentally changed how they approach monitoring their children's activities, especially when social media and unsupervised environments are involved. Traditional parenting methods may no longer be enough in a world where teens can easily fabricate their whereabouts or circumstances online. Many families have since adopted stricter verification practices after hearing about this tragedy, calling hosts, confirming locations, and staying actively engaged in their children's plans. Kalecia's legacy lives on not only in the hearts of those who loved her, but also in the lessons her story teaches us about protecting the next generation. In the wake of Kalecia's death, hotel chains across the country began revisiting their policies regarding unaccompanied minors. Many implemented stricter identification requirements and age verification procedures, recognizing the need for stronger safeguards to prevent similar tragedies. Schools also took note, incorporating Kalecia's story into discussions about honesty, trust, and the potential consequences of deception. Her case transformed abstract warnings about safety into a concrete, relatable example of how seemingly small decisions can have devastating outcomes. Safety experts emphasize several practical steps families can take to help prevent similar tragedies. Verify directly. Parents should confirm gathering locations by speaking directly with other parents, rather than relying solely on what their teenager tells them. Use technology wisely. Location-sharing apps can provide real-time updates on where your child is, offering an added layer of security. Set clear expectations. Openly communicate family rules and the consequences of dishonesty to build a foundation of trust and accountability. Educate teens. Help teenagers understand the risks of misrepresenting their whereabouts or plans to their parents. It could save their lives. Plan for peer pressure. Equip teens with pre-planned exit strategies for uncomfortable situations, empowering them to make safer choices. Discuss gun safety. Both parents and teens should engage in honest conversations about the dangers of firearms and the legal ramifications of possessing or mishandling weapons. These conversations may be difficult, but they create protective boundaries that could make all the difference in keeping teens safe. Kalecia Pinky Williams deserves to be remembered not just for the tragedy of her death, but for the vibrant life she lived. A 16-year-old who loved to dance, adored the color pink, and had a future brimming with possibilities. Though her life was tragically cut short, her story continues to carry meaning. It has sparked vital awareness and ignited critical conversations about teen safety in the digital age. As her family fights for justice and accountability, they are also committed to preserving the memory of Kalecia's spirit. Her warmth, her creativity, and her love for life. In their words, she wasn't out in these streets, but a home buddy who found joy in simple pleasures. She was a normal teenager whose story now serves as both a heartbreaking warning and a powerful call to action. Through their advocacy, Kalecia's legacy lives on, not just as a victim of circumstance, but as a beacon of hope for change. Kalecia Pinky Williams' story is a heartbreaking reminder of how quickly lives can change, and a powerful call to action for all of us. By learning from this tragedy, we honor her memory and take steps toward preventing similar losses in the future. As parents, teens, and communities, we must remain vigilant, communicative, and proactive in creating safer environments for our youth. Every conversation, every policy change, and every moment of awareness matters. Your comments help build our community of awareness. Share your thoughts, questions, or insights below, because together we can make a difference. Thank you for joining us on True Crime Continent. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Let's continue these important discussions and work toward a safer world for everyone. Rest in peace, Kalecia Pinky Williams. Your light continues to shine through the changes your story inspires.